Happy Tuesday, Cinema Peeps!
Hello, Cinema Peeps!
If you're hearing this, you made it through another week, and we are proud of you.
Yay!
Oh, man.
Man, is it just me, or is it, like, damn hot outside?
We had a little spit of rain on last Saturday, which was apparently International Neighbors Day.
Oh, interesting.
I'm honestly, I believe that they make up a lot of these holidays, and I don't think they're real.
I think so, honestly.
I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. And then, what was Father's Day was really bad. The Sunday was pretty bad. It was very cloudy. We talked about going for a drive, but we never ended up going because there's chances of rain, and I was working. But we all came together and had some Chicago deep dish pizza.
Ooh.
And the carrot cake that I made.
Yum! So it turned out good? It was delicious?
I think it turned out pretty good, surprisingly.
Nice.
Well, what did you do for Father's Day?
Well, we had a pretty chill day. The weather was also a little on the cloudy side for us. My dad described it as a damp camp morning. You know when you go camping and it's like you wake up and it's just dewy and kind of still damp and wet outside, but you know it's warm at least.
Yes.
So we didn't have like full blazing sun. It was cloudy, but it was still warm enough that it was hot. But we made my dad some French toast for breakfast because that's his favorite breakfast.
Ooh.
We just hung out in the backyard and played lawn games, and then we ordered some Fat Burger for lunch.
Ooh, Fat Burger?
Yeah.
Delicious.
And then, right? Yeah. And then we ended off the day by watching what we thought was going to be funnier than it was, but it was still cute, was The Upside with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart.
Oh, yes. I think my parents saw that one.
Yeah, it's about Bryan Cranston's a billionaire in a wheelchair. He's paralyzed. He can't move. Just his head he can move. Mm-hmm. And he's looking for a new caretaker. Somehow Kevin Hart, who his character's like an ex-convict, like he just got out of jail and he's looking for work. Somehow he gets like roped into getting interviewed for this. And he gets the job because he, out of all of the people that Bryan Cranston's interviewed, is the only one who's like, I don't take no bullshit kind of thing. The rest of them were all like, oh, your life is like a delicate flower, full of balance, and we want to make sure this and that. But he was like, I'm a no bullshit kind of person. And Bryan Cranston liked that about him. And you could tell that like he's obviously struggling with, you know, a lot of depression, being that he can't do the things he loved to do, and he lost his wife and stuff like that. So Kevin Hart's character kind of brings a little more positivity and like laughter into his life. So it was a very heartfelt comedy. We thought it would be a lot funnier just because you're like, oh, Kevin Hart, it should be funny.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I enjoyed it. Highly recommend.
Nice. We watched The Dances with Birds.
Ooh, yeah, that one, the bird doc or whatever.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which I'm pretty sure Animal Planet, and I guess to be fair, I think Animal Planet just goes out and films like hours and hours of footage. So they're like, let's just make 5 different docs with the exact same footage.
Right? I feel like it would be like the best job ever to like be a filmmaker for the animal docs.
Ooh, for speaking of that, in the Our Planet doc, you have to scroll past the episodes because I don't know why it just doesn't autoplay it, but they have 10 or 11 like mini episodes. They're like between 11 and 9 minutes, and it talks about how like they filmed a lot of the stuff. So one of the first ones, they were talking about how they set up for like I think over a month just to film like this ice like falling off the glacier because it was like the warming season, so they wanted to catch this footage. So there was just people in tents and they were just waiting.
Oh my gosh.
Waiting. And then literally the last day that they were there, last half an hour, you know, everything starts going. So they got on the helicopter and they're like, meow.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty crazy. And I remember even the shots they were talking about in the doc, and I was like, yeah, that was maybe like a 1 minute sequence, maybe. Maybe 2 minutes. And you're out there for a month.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
That's incredible.
The other one, though, was it started off really funny, and then it was, like, very sad.
Aw.
They were filming the walruses, and so they were all in this little shack, and then by the next morning, they were, like, this little shack in the middle of nowhere was just covered like on all sides with walruses, thousands on the beach and everything. Like they couldn't even get out.
Really?
I thought for sure the walruses like weight was just gonna crush this little shack. So they like climbed up on the roof so they could film them all, and then luckily some space opened up so they could get a drone shot of them all on the beach.
That's cool.
It was crazy. And then they had this crazy, like, Russian scientist, because the area they were at, there was polar bears. And he was like, yeah, the best method is this stick. And he goes, I just point it out, and they keep away. Me, my mom, and dad were like, huh. We would like to see this in action, please, because I cannot imagine this little twig that honestly looked like a stick you would find like at a campground and use it for like swords or something, would keep away a polar bear just by sticking it out. But okay, sir, you're the scientist, I guess. We won't question it. But like, But yeah, it ended on a very sad note because they had to film. They were filming because the whole idea is that global warming is so bad that normally the walruses wouldn't come to shore to rest. They would actually like sleep on icebergs, which is a lot easier, but because a lot of them have melted, so many of them have to come to shore, and then it's packed, and so they can't rest. So a lot of them climb up these really steep cliffs just to get away from the crowd, just to, get a moment to breathe. But then they try climbing back down and yikesies.
Oh no.
And so like they're filming this, right? And like the camera guy's just like, I think this is the worst thing I've ever had to do in my life.
Oh my god.
And they're all crying and you're just like, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, like I want to watch this just to like learn and like see that for myself.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah, it was. My mom was like, and on that note, I'm going to bed. Yeah, so it's really weird because like I said, I think they take a lot of footage and just repurpose it 100 times.
Yeah.
So there's the Our Planet, and like I said, within that, if you click on it, like there's like the little episodes underneath. But then they also have a separate doc about making Our Planet that's like 50 minutes long. So I don't know if that's like what all the little mini things are put together.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I should check it out.
Is that on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay,
all
cool.
On Netflix, baby.
Nice.
I don't know if you've watched it, but we started watching the first 2 episodes of History 101.
Oh no, I've seen it on there, but no, I haven't watched it yet.
Honestly, it was really cool.
Yeah?
Just for like reference for everybody else. Just kidding. But basically History 101, they're really short episodes, 20 minutes a piece, and basically it's just all about like little facts and trivia knowledge about certain topics, and a lot of it is done with like there's animation with it and some stock footage. And the first one was all about the fast food industry and how like the invention of the microwave just like changed everything and what it's like around the world and stuff like that. It was really interesting.
Cool.
I did find though, at the end, at least the first 2 we watched. The first one was fast food, and the other one was space race, which was pretty cool.
Ooh, nice.
But they always seem to try to end on a very positive note, which I think is fine. But I'm also just like with fast food, I was like, how do you end this on a positive note? Because they were talking about how like obesity has increased like over, what was it? They said in 19, what was I wish I knew the exact date, but I don't. But like, obviously the age before fast food, like obesity was like 12% or something, and now it's increased to like half.
Oh my gosh.
Of the population or something insane. Again, not, like I said, I don't remember the exact numbers, so don't quote me on anything. But basically there's been a huge increase, and there's like a huge increase with like children especially. Like kids like under the age of 18, like I want to say again, like almost half are like obese or something. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
But they tried ending it on a positive note, being like, hey, like the food fast, and how like the food industry affects the environment as well. Because obviously you have to get that beef somewhere. And or all the garbage and plastic that they've created because of it. So they tried to end it on the note that like out of all the industries, like they are ones that adapt pretty quickly. So again, when they were talking about, like there's no healthy options, they immediately adapted it like really quickly.
Yeah. And
I mean, they tried to make it seem like it was a sign of good faith, but like at the same time, I'm also like, it's probably a money thing, but oh well. But, and again, to me, the space one ending, like, made sense to me. So I'm guessing all these are going to end on very positive notes, which I think is fine. But I was hoping more just facts. But honestly, I think I'd recommend it. It's pretty cool. To be fair, I've only watched 2 episodes, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have to see.
That reminds me, have you ever seen... I haven't watched it myself. My parents have watched it. They've told me to watch it, and it's on my watch list. But it's called Game Changer on Netflix.
Game Changer?
Yeah. It's all about, like... Don't quote me on it. We're so bad for this, but, like...
An official quote.
Right? It's basically a food doc.
Oh, okay.
And, like health and weight loss and diet and stuff like that. But a lot of it has to do with, like, just the science behind eating certain foods and if you really actually need to eat the amount and the type of food that you do. That's the most generic description I can give. It's very interesting from how my parents explained it to me, but like I think it explains a lot of like the different diets, like paleo and vegan, and just like being different, those different types of things. And a lot of good, no pun intended, food for thought on just like how to eat healthier and smarter, and just being an overall healthy person, I guess. But it's on my watch list, and just you talking about the food made me think of that, so I wondered if you'd seen it.
Interesting. No, I'll have to put that on my watch list as well. And get super depressed, but
I don't think it's meant to do that, but
I don't know. You eat food, then you get depressed, you watch stuff, and then you go, oh man, this is depressing, I need to eat more food. It's the circle of life. So I don't know how many weeks ago I finally finished Community. I started from the beginning and just rewatched it all.
Nice.
And then I also watched the newest season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah?
But we'll just pedal back and for Community. So for people who haven't watched Community, it's a show made by Dan Harmon. I don't know why I was thinking Dan Green. I'm crazy. And basically it's about these 6 kind of dropout losers all attending community college. One of the characters, Jeff Winger, starts a study group just to bang one of the other characters, and then it kind of just grows from there. But I remember watching it for a little while and being like, yeah, this is like really funny. I also just liked the fact that it was like, oh, like you would think that a community college wouldn't hold a lot of story ideas. And yet there was paintball wars, blanket forts, espionage, spies, good versus evil. It was so good. Oh, Claymation,
yeah.
Claymation episode. An episode where they go into a video game. Like, it just... honestly, it felt like endless possibilities. It was great.
They were very, very creative with it, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And, like, I liked a lot, almost all the characters.
It is a very incredible show. I highly recommend it to anybody, especially now if you just need something, like, really lighthearted and just, like, dumb and silly humor just to laugh at. Definitely put it on. It's such a funny, like, cute show. And I think the thing I like about it the best is that, like, not only did... like, I think both of us kind of discover it in film school, but we also got to, like, use it as, like, teachings from class, because our one teacher, Rob, he used to reference it constantly, and then we started, like, breaking down the characters of the show, using it for ourselves on how to write characters and comedy and stuff like that, and it was actually really cool just to, like, be able to have a physical reference to a show that everybody really loved. We all referenced it all the time, and get to kind of, like, deeper dive analyze it.
Yeah, it was... so there's a lot of good memories.
Yes.
Held with the show.
Holds a special place in our hearts.
But, because, yeah, I think I kept up with it, like, pretty religiously up until about the start of season 5, where I watched the first episode and I was just like, nope. And then I just stopped watching it. It was just so jarring.
Oh, yeah.
For me. And so, like, I finally went back because Netflix had it back up on there, so I rewatched it from the beginning. And I'm kind of glad I dropped out at about season 4.
Yeah.
Those other 2 seasons were real rough. For me personally.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't think you could see the shift.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like, you can kind of tell that it just wasn't as strong, but I know they were going through a lot, like, production-wise, and just, like, with some of the cast and crew and everything.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I do know that Dan Harmon left the show.
Yeah.
Do you know at what point that was? Because I thought for some reason it was maybe beginning of season 4 or after season 4. I wasn't quite sure.
I do believe it was. Yes. I think.
Yes to all answers.
I think I'm pretty sure it was around the time Chevy Chase left the show, because I know he and Chevy Chase had a bit of a falling out, or there was just some sort of disagreement between the two. They weren't like vibing as well as they were before, and I don't remember the specifics of it all, or if they ever actually shared. I just remember hearing that there was some conflict between the two. And yeah, I believe that was around the time that he decided to leave, but I don't think it was because of Chevy Chase. I feel like that was a separate thing. There was something to do with the production itself, like, because I know that the show got dropped from whatever broadcasting network they were on, and then they got picked up by Hulu and like Yahoo or something like that, and then that didn't work out very well, and so yeah, they just kind of had like a really hard, rough go for the last two, so they were like chugging along, trying to make it work, and yeah.
No, it was. You could tell, like rewatching it now, like it's rough.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they were at least able to kind of bring it around full circle. Like, they were able to kind of sum everything up and tie up all the loose ends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Because you could tell, like, there was that whole, like, 6 seasons in a movie thing that everybody was rooting for, so they were obviously trying to leave room for that as well, but I think they also kind of knew that that might just be a pipe dream.
Yeah.
And they tried to, like, tie up as much as they could with the potential of maybe doing something else down the road.
They got 6 seasons, so...
Yeah, they did.
Movies gotta come along. And not to say that season 5 and 6 were awful. Like, I think, in season 6 they introduced Frankie, who I actually liked a lot as a character. Mm-hmm. And there was, like, the odd episode that I thought was really funny. Like, Jeff Winger goes into a drunken coma and it is in, like, a G.I. Joe cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Which I enjoyed a lot. Within a toy commercial. It was... Yeah, other than that, it just... I don't know. I think especially for me, like, when I was watching it religiously, the first episode of season 5... So season 4 ends with Jeff Winger graduating early from community college, and he's gonna go out on his own. From what I remember, he was gonna go back to the law firm that he was at, but then he decides to do his own thing. So then the start of season 5 sees it like in shambles, like he failed and like everything's on fire. And so then everyone comes back to the community college. And even though we spent 4 seasons, being like, you know what? Greendale is a weird ass place, but it accepts everyone. So there was always like not a love-hate, but always an acknowledgement that Greendale is a home for them. Yeah. It may not be perfect, but it was there for them when they needed it. And so to start episode 5 off being like, Greendale sucks. Bleh, let's tank it. I was like, what? Yeah. And then they burn the study group desk at the end, and they're just like, huh.
Yeah, that was a strange one.
And then I found again through season 5 and 6, like they kept bringing back like how much of a dump it was. And I was like, okay, but we just established 4 seasons of like how we supposedly like Greendale. So I guess for me, they were like beating a dead horse. Yeah. And coming back to this same lesson that we've already like learned.
I honestly didn't even like think of it that way. So that's actually kind of a cool point that you pointed out. But I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that was maybe around the time that Dan Harmon left, and they had some, other writers kind of take over and tried to make it on more of a humorous side in that way, but because like they did the odd time bash the school, but in the end it was all like the school was kind of the foundation that held everybody together. Like they accepted the fact that the school's kind of a dump. It's kind of weird, kind of strange, but we're all here. And that's what makes it great.
Right. And I mean, maybe that plays into what you were saying of how it, like, jumped from different broadcasters. Yeah. So, like you said, having different writers, so maybe that's why 5 and 6 don't feel, like, connected to the rest of the series. And I mean, I guess maybe you could argue, like, season 4 or even earlier, it went down the shit drain. But, like, I very much enjoyed up to that point. And like I said, there's a couple things in season 5 and 6 that I don't think are terrible. There's some good ideas. And I guess maybe a thing for Community, they had that whole paintball day. And I think after a while they didn't want to overuse it too much. But, so I know I can't remember which, there was like 2 seasons they didn't even mention it or something. But they brought it back in season 6. But I thought they had a really good idea of how it was like an underground paintball situation where like you were playing the game but you couldn't let people know you were playing the game. Yeah. But like they didn't really go anywhere with it. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, who knows what, like there's so many different things that could have been the cause of all that stuff.
Right.
And yeah, definitely like production for sure has a big part in majority of shows nowadays. And I feel like, I mean, this isn't facts at all. I'm just going based off of my own experience of some of the shows we've watched in the last little while. It seems like maybe those last 2 seasons of Community started around the time where it was like shows were starting to kind of lean more towards what the fans were hoping for. So again, I could be completely off my rocker, but you know, I just found there are some shows that nail it all the way through.
Yeah.
They just, you know, they're good. They don't let anything like waver them any way through it. And then there are some that just kind of like you can tell that they're running on fumes, and now they're just kind of like doing what they assume the fans want to see. So
100%.
I don't know if Community was trying to do that, but yeah, I do know that like it kind of felt a little like it was going in that direction. But again, there's other, you know, plausibilities. They were struggling trying to figure out what network to stay on. They were trying to stay afloat, and so who knows where or what the deal is going on there, right? But it was even cool to see, like, watching the quarantine thing that they did where they all kind of came together on Zoom to do a table read. It was nice to hear them all kind of talk afterwards about just how much they enjoyed the writing in the beginning and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much throughout it sounded like too, but like you could tell that, you know, they had a real admiration for Dan Harmon and just the writers and just the comedic aspect of it all, and the fact that they had the freedom to kind of goof around and like experiment with different like ad-libbing and improving stuff. And that's kind of what made the show what it was that they didn't, like, I think it was Donald Glover who said like it was nice that we were able to not have that pressure of the bigger corporations, you know, telling us what to do, and like the fans having those expectations. We could kind of just do whatever we wanted at the beginning. And it was like, if this gets picked up, who cares? Like we you know, we're not big and famous right now. We can just do whatever we want, and it's funny to us, right?
Well, I think that's what inspired me to rewatch Community from the beginning.
Oh yeah,
they were doing a table read for episode 5 of the lie detector, which I was like, man, I was like, well, I better restart so I don't get spoilers for some reason. And I'm glad I did, because I actually have it saved on my tabs. I have to go back and watch the table read, and I went through about halfway of their chat afterwards about how much they enjoyed working on the show. So in that aspect, I am happy that obviously they had a good experience with it and it's not bad. But just to wrap up this last little Community point about the whole like having expectations from fans, I meant to Google this before we were going to talk about it today about Dan Harmon and what his projects were before Community. But have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
I've seen random episodes. My sister was a fan of the show. I'm not sure if she still is. I haven't heard her talk about it in a while, but I can see the humor. It's very similar to like some of the humor in Community. I don't know what it is. I've never been a fan of adult cartoon shows.
What?
The most I've ever really enjoyed watching is like Family Guy back in the day. But even then I don't watch, like I've never watched The Simpsons, never really had much of an interest in that. Big Mouth, like any of those ones that are on TV right now, like, or on Netflix, I mean, any of those ones that are on Netflix right now. I've just never, I don't know, I've never had an interest in watching adult cartoons. I don't know what.
Not your cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea, no.
Honestly, I enjoy a good adult cartoon now and then, you know?
Yeah.
It's real good. But just on the discussion, of like fan expectations and stuff like that. So I don't watch Rick and Morty. I think it's because I feel not intelligent enough to watch the show. Because there is like a lot of like depth that go into these episodes. But I do watch a lot of more specifically the film theories deep dives on the episodes, which I find super interesting.
Oh yeah,
there was one Matt Pat did recently about, there was this whole episode about the story locomotive train, and so it was like this meta episode about how you write an episode for like any kind of show, and like all these weird little references, and like how they're like, well, what are we supposed to do? And there was the thing that ran the locomotive machine, which was like quality, appeal, and I wish I could remember the third one, but it was all like, you know, like the quality of the show, like do fans like it and stuff like that, and how like if one is not balanced by the other, like it can go bad, and like the influence of outside like corporations or the studios that, you know, want you to do certain episodes. Like, do you do something episodically and have people follow along? Or does that alienate people who try to jump into the show, you know, and be like, I have no idea what's going on? Or do you have weird one-off episodes that are crazy, but after a while gets kind of dull because you're just like, what is the point of everything? Like, should this all have a point? And should everything have a point? And it all ends with like this product out of being like, buy the story locomotive now. And it's just like, so I'll send you the episode to the link because I don't feel like I'm doing it justice.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was just this whole crazy thing. And then like going into depth and talking about it, like how do you balance stuff like that? Mm-hmm. It made me think about Community quite a bit, and maybe that was the fact, and that's why things kind of didn't go as well as maybe as it could have. Mm-hmm. Is maybe at the time Dan Harmon was trying to balance all these things and just couldn't. Mm-hmm. And now with Rick and Morty, like him, I wish I could remember his other friend who helps him with the show. But yeah, and just talking about like how expansive Rick and Morty is and like the philosophy, like all of that I find is really cool.
Nice.
But I also feel if I watch the show, I probably wouldn't pick up on anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel sometimes the humor doesn't always appeal to me. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, like I think all of that is super cool.
Nice, yeah.
You know, I think that struggle is something that not just what the show Rick and Morty struggle with, but I think probably every show ever on the face of the earth. Like how much do you appeal to fans, you know? And how much do you have to do stuff originally?
Yeah.
But with all trying to fit into this idea of like you have to appease the studio.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, they're the one paying your paychecks. So they're going to try to put a lot of their influence because, you know, they own or some rights to the show.
Yeah. That just reminds me too of like Supernatural. I'm curious even just to like read up some more on like on Dan Harmon and Community and stuff like that, and wonder if maybe he only had like a set amount of seasons that he actually wanted to do other than the whole 6 seasons in a movie thing like previous to that. Because I know Eric Kripke, the creator of Supernatural, he only had 5 seasons planned out for the original storyline of Sam and Dean. Mm-hmm. And once he was done that, he was going to step down no matter what.
Right.
And the other writers were like, no, but like we feel like we can like take these guys even further, you know, like we just got popular after like the 5th season, like it really started to pick up with people. And they were like, no, I don't think we're done yet. Like, and of course, you know, Jared and Jensen, they're like, well, we could play Sam and Dean forever, so we're on board no matter what.
Yeah.
And Eric Kripke was just like, well, yeah, if you guys want to do that, by all means, but I'm stepping down. I've done my 5 seasons. I did what I wanted to do. It's in your hands now. So, and I mean, you know, they were good for a little while personally, and obviously, you know, 15 seasons later, it's kind of run its course, I think. But I'm just curious to know if maybe something similar like that happened.
Honestly, highly possible. And I mean, I think sometimes, like, I think it works sometimes in their favor if they're, and especially depending on maybe the crew of people they have around them. Mm-hmm. You know, you can, like, maybe you do have this great idea in your mind, but sometimes it can be elevated even more by surrounding yourself with other people who can help make that idea better. But obviously, like you said, at some point, you have to stop.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a fan of anything, you know, like, you know, you feel that. You're like, you never want something to end.
Nope.
I never wanted Arrow to end.
Nope.
But, you know, at some point, like, it has to.
Yep.
People get tired. I think especially for actors, you know, a TV gig is great because they're on for seasons and get paid. Mm-hmm. It's a consistent paycheck every year.
Yep.
But they also don't always get to stretch their abilities. So that's why they want to go out and try other projects to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think sometimes we forget that. And we forget that, like, stories just have to come to an end. And that's okay. But speaking of endings, we should probably end this podcast.
Very true, yes.
I think that's where we'll end today's podcast. I know we were just talking about endings and how we don't want things to end, but
yes,
they do. But don't you worry, there'll probably be another one next week.
Yeah.
So no fears. Yeah, have a happy Tuesday. Continue to be safe out there. Respect each other.
Be kind.
Be kind. Watch all the Netflix, because eventually we're all going to have to go back to work and we'll all be miserable again. All right. Goodbye.
Bye, cinema peeps.
Monkey.
And
slap.